that I might say something, and it just like triggers, okay? After a long day of duo queue, RF and NidHogg decided to Skype call each other to plan tomorrow's duo queue. Today wasn't so bad, RF. Don't beat yourself up. We'll win more tomorrow, NidHogg said over the Skype call. It's not that. It's just I never get lucky in my games, and it just stresses me out more, RF tried to explain. You just need to relax and try to release some of that stress before and after games, RF. It might help with your gameplay and prevent any tilt, NidHogg suggested to RF. I guess we'll see tomorrow how the games turn out then. I'll see you later. I want to try to calm myself down before I go to sleep, RF said, just as he was about to end the call. Alright, take care, RF. I'm gonna go watch some other streams before I go to sleep as well, NidHogg replied back. Just as RF said goodnight to NidHogg, he was distracted for a split second as he noticed his cat roaming his room. RF got up from his chair to pick up the cat and move it outside his room. NidHogg as well was distracted as he heard a streamer screaming pedicule and forgot to close and end his Skype call. RF too forgot to turn off his video camera off during the Skype call, so it was still running in the background from an unnoticed RF. RF closed the door behind his pet cat and walked back to his computer. He scrolled down his match history, noticing the wins and losses he had gotten with NidHogg. RF took in a deep breath as he browsed around his computer. RF was feeling a bit stressed out from those games and decided to relieve some of that stress. Oh, fuck me, dude. He opened up his browser and decided to have a little bit of fun before he went to bed. He searched up some porn and began to get aroused by just thinking of it. He began to unbutton his shorts as he rubbed his crotch. NidHogg was still unaware that his Skype call was still running and did not notice RF, nor did he. RF began to gently grab and fall onto his bulge, growing underneath his boxers. He grinned as he felt his cock begin to erect underneath. Okay. He could feel the tension and heat emanating from him. RF bit his lips as he tugged and pulled, enjoying every second of it. RF placed one hand underneath his shirt and began to rub his chest. He ran his fingers all over, gently feeling himself. He couldn't help but pull his erection out of his boxers and look at his white, thick virgin dick. The uncut foreskin pulled back, revealing the tip of his bright pink penis head. Oh my fucking god. You could see the moist texture of pre-cum forming on the tip of his penis. RF gently teased his own tip by running a finger around it. RF moaned lightly, but it was enough to catch the attention of an unsuspecting viewer. NidHogg was surprised when he randomly heard a moan until he noticed that his Skype call was still running. He opened up his Skype to reveal RF on the other side, pleasuring himself. NidHogg was shocked to see his duo partner playing with himself. He wasn't sure if he wanted to disturb RF, so he hesitated on doing so. But he also didn't want to stop watching. NidHogg felt his cock begin to throb as he watched RF. He was beginning to enjoy it. NidHogg began to touch himself as he watched RF pleasures himself. RF was already beginning to jerk himself off as he watched this porn. He massaged and grasped his cock, giving it a few squeezes in between pulls. With his other hand, he placed it underneath to gently rub his shaven balls. RF continued to moan. He slowly could feel himself ready to shoot his load. But he wanted to take his pleasure even further. He stopped for a second to reach down underneath his desk to grab his pink dildo. NidHogg was surprised to see that RF had a dildo on him. He had always thought RF to be straight. He watched RF begin to lick and suck on the dildo, making slurping noises and dripping saliva from his mouth. The dildo was flexible and covered completely in saliva. RF sat upward with his feet onto his chair, revealing his virgin asshole. NidHogg became super hard after seeing RF's hole. NidHogg couldn't help it. He too unbuttoned his shorts and grabbed at his cock to begin stroking it. He stood up from his chair to properly jerk it off while watching RF violate his own body. NidHogg's heavy testicles dropped low, but he grasped them in his other hand to warm them and to massage them. Come on, RF, what are you gonna do now? He whispered to himself. RF positioned the dildo underneath his cunt. He teased it by running the tip of the head upon his crack. RF slowly pushed it towards inside of him. He could feel his tight virgin ass begin to spread open. Oh god, yes, RF moaned out loud. I might as well animate that. Oh god, yes, RF moaned out loud. NidHogg felt his cock pulse harshly after hearing those words come out of RF's mouth. RF had managed to put the dildo halfway inside of him, but he wanted all of it. He began to move his body up and down to slowly push himself all the way down the shaft of his dildo. RF moaned even louder this time. Oh yes, gank me hard, NidHogg. NidHogg quickly got out of the camera's way, thinking RF hadn't noticed him watching. He glanced back at the screen to make sure, but noticed RF's eyes were closed. Yes, that's it, Eric. Gank me harder, daddy. Alright, RF was jumping up and down in a repeated pattern. NidHogg could see RF's hard dick flop up and down in motion. NidHogg was confused. Had RF known he was watching, or was RF actually moaning out his name? He continued to watch gently, touching his dick, quietly trying not to orgasm. RF stood up and removed the dildo from his butt. He walked away from his chair to walk up to his bed. RF dropped forward toward his bed. He sat on his knees in the middle of the bed, arching his back downward. His plump bubble butt stuck outward into the air, his virgin hole revealing and spread open. RF's hard dick dangled in between his legs. He grabbed it and continued to jerk himself off. The dildo in his other hand, he continued to tease his ass with it dripping with the remaining saliva it had. Oh god, it had. He thrusted it, this time, deep inside of him. Fuck, RF moaned in pain. NidHogg began to stroke vigorously, closing his eyes, thinking of what RF was doing to himself. God damn it, RF, I didn't know you thought of me this way, he moaned quietly. RF rapidly began to fuck himself with the dildo. With every thrust he moaned, and with every moan he thought of his duo jungler. Gank me, NidHogg, gank me fucking hard! RF screamed in pleasure. NidHogg's thick cock was near full expansion, the tip glowed bright red. Fuck, I'm gonna come, NidHogg screamed, as he forgot he was watching RF. NidHogg blew his load, a massive blast of thick white cum dripped down from his tip, down his shaft. He breathed heavily, but noticed and shouted loud enough to catch RF's attention. RF quickly stopped in panic. He covered himself with his shorts and walked back up to the computer. He noticed that his Skype call with NidHogg was still running, and NidHogg was on the other side with his dick out. Eric, what are you doing? RF screamed in confusion. NidHogg opened his eyes to see RF on the other side of his Skype call. RF, it's not what you think. NidHogg quickly sat back down, covering himself up. Were you watching me this whole time? RF blushed in embarrassment. No, I mean yes. I mean I forgot to end the Skype call. NidHogg tried to explain. No, you didn't end the Skype call. RF shouted back. The two couldn't look at each other during all this until RF asked, "Did you hear all what I said, Eric?" NidHogg answered with honesty. Yeah, I did. Did you really mean those things about RF? NidHogg was still surprised RF had said those things about him. Maybe I mean you wouldn't fully understand, but I just had a sexual fetish for junglers who gank. RF covered his face in embarrassment. Did you enjoy it? RF asked. Enjoy what? NidHogg replied. You know, watching me do that to myself. RF blushed and let a small smirk out. NidHogg blushed as well. Shut up, RF. NidHogg ended the Skype call after that reply. RF cleaned himself up and dressed himself to get into bed. NidHogg cleaned off the remaining cum on his dick. He sat back on his desk and wondered what had happened. The two thought about one another being together again for tomorrow's duos games. The end. In brackets, she says, or the author says, these fanfics happen when two naughty duo boys randomly moan and talk about suck. Thanks, RF Heart.